I start the meeting here again. So I share my Zoom with you guys. So yes. Okay. So, okay. I was supposed to give you a break, but sometimes like technical problems will not cooperate with us to go according to the plan. So we took a break by also switching to another Zoom link. So sorry for that, for the inconvenience. So I hope that that is do you accept my apology? So welcome back. Just for you guys, if you want to be in contact with me, so there is my Facebook plus Instagram, so you can contact me anytime. So I'm really happy to help you guys. And Kamal, can I request you all to write down your questions, because we have a very question and answer session at the end, and I'm really happy to answer all of your questions there, because just due to that, Zoom is not free, because I don't want to put much time on the question and answer right now. So please write down your questions, and I do respect. That's really nice of you guys to ask questions, but please save that for just for some minutes. Okay, so again, okay, I will ask some questions, or we will begin with some sentences. So now you might ask that, is it enough to apply to the US universities only with your grades or GPA? This is one of your questions, so I will answer it. And the next question is English test score like TOEFL, sorry, excuse me, TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo a requirement for the admission? Okay. This is maybe one of the very questions that you all have. And also maybe how much time is required to prepare for applying to the US universities and colleges? I think this is a very important question that we all have to know it according to our own circumstances and situation. And the fourth one is, what are the things that I should arrange or fix them, or to prepare myself? So there are the things that I think answering to those questions will help us to really prepare ourselves for the US colleges and universities for admission process. So now when applying to the US colleges and universities, it is extremely different compared to other schools in other countries. For example, in Sweden, you only upload your grads on a website, and that's all. Nothing will happen more except that. So even the universities, they don't know that behind this GPA or behind these grades is there like a human being or a robot or anyone else. But that's not the case when it comes to US universities and colleges. And there are 8 factors or components for the admission process. And this is really important that we should know them, and we should know how to deal with those. So now I just wish that I had this information before, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago. So those all 8 factors or components, I have categorized them into 3 categories that I will go. So now the first category, that those components or factors which need at least between 2 to 4 years are high school grades or GPA and extracurricular activities. I will talk about all of those in details later on. And the second category is to prepare for English test and give your English test. And the second thing is to give and to prepare for SAT or SAT and to give that test. And the third category is which requires between half year to 1.5 years, that is to filling the Common App. I will talk about that. And to write your personal statement, to answering the questions of schools, and also the interview, which is not very important, but also very important. But that's not a part of the admission process. Interview will take place after admission process. So, we will start with the first category, which needs between 2 to 4 years at least. The first one is your high school, okay? It really varies, and it is different where you study your high school, because in some countries like in Sweden, in Afghanistan, high school is 3 years, and that is 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. But in the US, the high school is 4 years, because their high school, it starts from the 9th grade, that they say freshman, and they say like sophomore, junior, and senior. But for those of you who have studied IB, or you study IB program, which is a high school program, that is for 2 years. But again, in some schools, like in Sweden, if you study IB, you have to study 3 years, because high school in Sweden, that is 3 years. So you have to study 1 more year, even if you study IB. And the first year is just for preparation of IB. But in other schools, for example, if you apply from Afghanistan for IB program, you study only 2 years. I hope that I'm not wrong about this. Now I'm really talking about the top US schools, okay? The top US schools, and everything is like designed according to those schools, but you can also make like a guess or an estimation that how you want to like decrease your GPA, your score, and everything according to the school. So if you want to apply to the top US schools like Ivy League schools like Brown, Harvard, Princeton, Stanford, Dartmouth, Yale, so the students that are admitted to those schools, they have at least like a GPA of 3.8 to 4 GPA. 4 GPA is 100 perfect score. That's a perfect score. And 3.8 is like somehow 95%. Okay, I just want to be very clear with you guys that it doesn't mean if your score is like maybe 3.5 or 3.4 GPA, or you're like that's 90% or 88 or 85%, you cannot apply to the US schools. Of course, you can apply, but it depends like what schools you choose and what schools you want to study or you want to come in. If you want to come into the top US schools, then you have to have like top GPA or score. And the second thing is about the extracurricular activity. So now extracurricular activities, it can be any activity that you do outside of school. That can be like political activism, social and civil activism, like to work for refugees or to be a part of an organization or association that works for refugees or human rights. Or that can be like sports, like to be a part of a football team or tennis or anything. And that can be also like study association, educational organizations like study circles, storytelling and writing and everything. So now there are 3 things that you have to bear in mind and keep in mind, okay? One is that you cannot do a good extracurricular activity in 1 year. What happened? Sorry for that. So I don't know what happened, but yes. Why is that? Sorry, there is, yes. Sorry for that.
It's okay, no problem.
Thank you. Yeah. So now extracurricular activity, you cannot make good extracurricular activity in 1 year or 6 months or even like in 1.5 years, because so there are 2 things which are very important with extracurricular activities. One, leadership, and the second one is commitment. Okay, the question is this. Okay, there are 2 persons. One person has been a part of like 10 organizations and associations. Like he has been in one organization for 1 month, then he quits and join another one for like 6 months, then quits that again and become a part of another organization for 4 months, and somehow like that. So he is just switching between different organizations, and he writes on his CV like 10 organizations within 2 or 3 years. But there's another person, he is part of only maybe 2 or 3 organizations. He joins the organization and he goes up gradually. Maybe he's like a regular member, then he becomes a part of the board members, hayati mudira in Persian that we say. Then he becomes maybe the like someone in charge of the social media, then he becomes vice president, and maybe in third year or second year he becomes like the president. Now the question is this: do you think that that person who is switching between different organizations, that person has a strong extracurricular background, or the next person that who has been a part of like few organizations, but he has grown up and he has gone up gradually. He from a regular member, he has become the president of that organization. What do you think is better? Of course, that person has a strong extracurricular activity that he has begun from a very like low level, but he has come up to the high level, because US schools, they want leadership and they want commitment, passion, desire, and interest. If you show that you have been committed to one organization or one group for a long time, and you have done that a great job, and you have begun and you have gone up gradually, that means that you have passion. Because there are millions, okay, there are thousands of students, they do like extracurricular activities just to fill one of the requirements. But the US admission officers, that they know if this person has done this extracurricular for passion, due to interest, for something that he really is in love to do, or he just wants to fill some blanks on his application. So that's really important, and I encourage you to do something that you're passionate about, to do something that you are in love with, that to do something that you have commitment, and also be a leader. There's a big difference, someone who is the president of an organization and who is like a local, just a regular member. Because US schools, they want to invest on leaders. They want to invest on people that they are committed, and they think that this person will do something tomorrow and he will be committed to that. So that's really important for the extracurricular activities. And extracurricular activities, you cannot make it in 1 year or 2 years. And therefore, I say that it is like a time requirement of 2 to 4 years. And therefore, like US high school students, they start their social activism or extracurricular activities when they are in 8th grade or 9th grade, and they go up and go up.